All right, YouTube. So it turns out that my speech impediment slash talking disability paid off yesterday, stuttering, because yesterday I was trying to make a video about Whoopi Goldberg and Judge Jeanine on The View, and that didn't really work out. I guess I was just having very bad stuttering fits. So here I am again, and I'm glad that I waited today, because now that we have, some of the time has passed, some of the smoke is settled, I guess. We've got Judge Jeanine on Fox and Friends this morning. I'm going to go ahead and post the link to the video in the description below, as always. I felt like it was a very, very nice interview that she gave on both ends. I felt like the first one, with on The View was very unfortunate for her, because, she's basically being subject to verbal abuse. She goes onto the show to talk about her book and to talk about politics. And to do some shilling, I guess, for Trump with the whole Russia thing. Not that she has to, but she did anyways. So that, that was kind of what the whole show was supposed to be about. And it ended up with Whoopi Goldberg basically yelling at her, screaming at her. And the cause of this was basically due to the fact that, well, a couple things. First of all, Whoopi doesn't like anybody that she disagrees with. And you can even ask her her film staff. Over the years, she's been known to be an abusive individual. And I've heard this. I've heard this because I know people that are in Hollywood. Believe it or not, they're not very well known, but I still know them nonetheless. And they tell me stories about all these celebrities, and it's basically the same thing, A lot of these celebrities tend to, they tend to be very abusive people, very stubborn, very egomaniacal, basically just not good people. And they engage in very sketchy behavior, like perverted sex and expensive drugs, as George Carlin would say. So leave that open to interpretation, but I believe Whoopi Goldberg is one of these Hollywood swamp monsters. So when someone like Trump comes along and, is cracking down on human trafficking, people like her and the whole Hollywood community tend to get a little uneasy, because now they're being exposed, or at least they're preparing to be exposed. And the way I realized the whole 4D chess, the way the plan is kind of unfolding now, is that in order for Trump to prosecute all these people that he's talking about, Mueller, for the 9/11 cover-up, a lot of these people in Hollywood that are connected to human trafficking, basically all the swamp monsters, all these people that are going away eventually, he can't do it right now, and he needs to wait. And Martin Brodell, one of my subscriptions, he's really, really good. He's basically like YouTube news at this point. He's awesome. And the good YouTube news, rather. So he basically said, he basically needs to wait to prosecute all these people, because the public sentiment needs to be clear and present. He can't just start putting people away, because he's not going to have the public behind him necessarily. He has some of the public. Some of the public is aware of what's going on, but the general population is not, And some of them don't care. Some of them don't even follow politics. But once these crimes become exposed, then they'll start to understand why, he's arresting these people. So I'm very happy about that. It's good to hear when the good guys win and the bad guys lose. Yeah. So going back to Judge Jeanine, so she was on Fox and Friends this morning, and she sat down and talked about her encounter with Whoopi Goldberg off camera after the show. So basically, the timeline, as I understand it, goes: Judge Jeanine comes onto The View, tries to talk about her book, ends up getting screamed at by Whoopi Goldberg, because basically the reasoning that she gives, I think Judge Jeanine said, like, oh, what's wrong with him? Like, why don't you guys like him? Like, unemployment, all that stuff. You guys don't care about that? And then Whoopi Goldberg, pulls out it's almost like it's ancient. This insult, oh, I'm tired of people calling Mexicans rapists, which he didn't do. You got to watch the video of him actually speaking, announcing his candidacy. He did not say that. And it's funny, a lot of the Latinos that I know didn't give a shit that he said that. In fact, a lot of these Latinos that I know are legal. They worked their asses off, and a lot of them didn't come from here. A lot of them weren't born here. They came from Mexico, and they had to wait a very long time to get here. So that kind of shows you like how the reality of the reaction of that actual statement and what, how people perceive it to be, and they just don't buy that line of bullshit anymore. They really don't. So Judge Jeanine basically countered by saying, she said, "Oh, well, you just have Trump derangement syndrome. That's all. And it probably wasn't the right thing to say. I don't think it was. But it is what it is, and it ended up spawning the events that we're talking about now. So then Whoopi basically starts shouting over her, and then she apparently, she cut the interview short. I don't know if it was her or the producer, but either way, it got cut short. And then this was the interesting thing. This is why I'm glad that I waited a day to make this video, because on Judge Jeanine's account of her encounter with Whoopi Goldberg backstage, it kind of adds to the conflict. So basically, Whoopi Goldberg was shouting at her inches from her face in the backstage, or I guess near the exit or whatever. Either wherever it was near a stairway. I guess that's the way she described it. Yeah. So I'm glad that I waited, because it was. I mean, that sounds about right. That sounds about the right way that she would actually react to that situation, and basically just very uncivil, and it's really unfortunate. And then what Judge Jeanine went on to say in the interview with Fox and Friends, she went on to talk about how she basically wanted to go there to have a conversation. She knew that she wasn't going to have anybody agreeing with her, but she at least wanted to have a conversation, and she wanted to learn some stuff from them, which is why she asked, why are you guys so down on unemployment? Why isn't that not important for you? And the answer is obvious to that. It's because they're Hollywood actors. They don't have to worry about unemployment or recessions. They pretty much have 100% job security. Yeah. It doesn't even matter what they do nowadays. I mean, these people, they seem to the worse they behave, the more protected they are, and then the ones who actually speak up, like Corey Haim, get shunned from Hollywood altogether. And there's been some other guys too, like Marlon Brando back in the day, literally verbatim talking about how Jews were taking over Hollywood, which is true. It's a factual statement, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem with it. He did, apparently. So, but just these people, these Hollywood actors that tend to speak the truth, they end up getting shunned. So that should say a lot about the ones that are still making movies and everything, that they're well protected. I have a feeling, though, that a guy like Chris Pratt, though, is actually probably going to maybe get shunned from Hollywood, too, with his pro-Jesus talk. I'm not sure. But I hope that everything goes as planned, because I do trust the plan. I'm not skeptical anymore. I'm just I'm very confident of the plan, the 4D chess plan. So let me know what you guys think. Peace.